public.
Wow.
So that like when you make eye contact, you're doing it in a certain way so you seem inviting, but like you don't seem like standoffish. Is there like a school like that in your school? Because you teach the worship school here. Do you have that lesson?
I am not the guy to teach that class.
Does Nate teach? Because I know Nate's part of the worship.
Nate would be even worse. Nate would just be like, keep your head down, never look up, don't smile.
So I hope Rick doesn't hear this one, but Rick gets accosted sometimes, the poor guy. I was at a meeting one time, Dave. A lady came, she was demonized. I felt bad for her. She literally grabbed his chair and his leg, and she's like on the floor trying, and somebody had to come and get it off. But I think, he didn't even, he's still talking to me about the content of the meeting.
It's totally Rick. Yeah, I can see he's like, oh, well, okay. You know what we should do, Dave?
What's that?
In my opinion, I think we should have an episode where we tell the craziest, without giving crazy details, stories that we have seen within ministry. We don't even have to say within Morningstar.
But
I know you've got some. Ooh. I know I've got some.
Yes.
And man, there's some wild things that we have seen.
And then I bet you that are out there listening to us. First of all, we want to thank you. Thanks for being a part of it. But I'll bet you'll say, I've seen that one. I'll bet you can. And then write us, let us know, comment, let us know. Give us some of your crazy stuff. It's therapy for us.
It is. It really is. It really
if you can one up us. I just got one that comes to mind.
Oh, please.
Like when I was a young believer, this one still kind of like affected me. So I had heard about this church where there was like this outpouring of like God and the Holy Spirit kind of thing. I didn't know anything about anything, like zero. I had zero like Jesus-y background. Me and another guy got saved at the same time. Somebody gave us one of these Bibles that had the 4 Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So help me. I called him up on the phone and I said, hey, what do you think of the Bible? Because I was reading through the thing. And he goes, it's terrible. They're killing him again.
Oh, no.
He thought Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
It was just a repeat. Oh,
he'd get reincarnated and crucified, reincarnated and crucified. That's how much we knew.
The torture, poor guy. It's like, oh, how could
I can't read this anymore. So, but here's the true story. So we go to this meeting where this thing is going to go break out, and it was really packed. It was really just packed, and I went in, and there was just like an altar call kind of a thing going, and people were praying and doing stuff, and there are people. So as I'm going, I'm like, oh, there's some seats up here near the front.
Oh, no.
Yes, you know where I'm going.
Rookie mistake.
Yes, rookie mistake. I didn't know. So I'm like, oh, these are luxurious seats up near the front.
Right.
And then certainly after the altar call's done, and then the musicians and the people come back, and I would say the more important people who had like, ministry on the platform came back. They walked right over to me and they're like, get out, you're in my seat. And then I was like my jaw dropped because I was like humiliated. I didn't know where to go, what to do. And then I'm like, but just, you were up praying and then Jesus, and then now I got to leave. And how was it? That was a terrible one. It broke my little.
It was a simple rookie mistake. You didn't know what you were doing. You're a revival rookie. You should have known what you were doing.
Yeah, give me one. If just anything come to the top of your head.
Oh man, let me see. Can I tell you one that I've seen from stage before?
Yeah. So this may or may not reflect the views of Morningstar. Let me run the disclaimer.
Yes,
the views and opinions about to be expressed by Dave may not reflect that of Morningstar Ministry, Rick Joyner, affiliates, void in Utah. See store for details. No batteries included. All right, go ahead.
Now listen, I'm not saying where this happened. It could have happened at Morningstar. It maybe happened somewhere else. But listen, so one day I'm standing on the stage. I'm leading worship. I'm like 2 songs in. We're going for it. While the peripheral view of my peripheral view, I see what seems like a baby being thrown up in the air. Okay? And I'm like, what in the world? Now, as I look over and I turn, this baby that's being thrown up in the air also has bunny ears on it. This is no joke, no exaggeration. Other people saw this. So what happened is someone wrapped a baby doll, put bunny ears on it, and was throwing it up in the air, doing a spin, catching it, then throwing it on the ground and doing some kind of weird dance around it.
Wow.
All the while crying and screaming.
Guys, you just missed. He did a little bit of a mime of what the dance looked like. It's a cross between like a hula and like conjuring up a devil.
Yeah. As I'm trying to lead worship, there's like 1,000 people in the room. And, and so this happened for, probably about half of the song. And then finally a wonderful security guard came and took the person away. But I mean, these are the kind of things that you could see. And
well, I would just say, back in the day, I grew up in the era where we often brought our baby dolls with bunny ears. So this was more
of a normal thing.
It was a common thing.
I was just out of the loop. That's all.
And we would throw them as high as we could in an act of worship to something or other.
And that's more of my tame stories. I've got a lot more.
I think that's one of the reasons, we're going through these things, talking about millennials, because I do think it's important. Like, I think we can all kind of get myopic where we just see things very nearsighted and it's, listen, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls across the land, there's a big world out there. And as it gets, as we start to, kind of dive in with more cultures, I think it's so important that we kind of like take on this sense of finding and appreciating other people's viewpoints. You don't have to agree with them. I'm not saying that they're always godly, but I think it's more and more increasing. And I think honestly, like millennials, what's the next one? Gen
Z and then Gen Alpha.
Gen Z and Gen Alpha. I think Gen Z, which some people that we may or may not know in this room would be a part of.
Sure.
I think their whole thing about inclusiveness, where they don't want to offend anybody, probably came from the terrible job my generation did with bigotry and, stuff like that. So they're like, okay, that was definitely off the rails. So I think that, when we look at it like that, we can appreciate kind of the diversity in people. I'm waxing philosophical here. It's it's a heavy moment in the studio.
I'm on the verge of tears, Dave. I'm on the verge of tears.
Well, here's a couple of things just off the top of my head. Could we have snacks in church?
Yes.
Because I'm there for I'm 6 foot 2 and 200 plus pounds.
Yeah,
you got me there for an hour. Bring a little snack cart around.
That would be nice, a little snack cart. Hey, I'll tell you something. Morningstar Ministries is the only place I've ever seen a pizza delivered during a church service. I've seen it multiple times. Papa John's walks in, they're like, Charles, and then they're like, over here, while Rick's like, and this is why.
And nobody would bat an eye.
Nobody would bat an eye. I've seen pizza delivered. I've seen people eating sushi. Nate brings Chinese food every day.
Every day. Yeah. He has one stop for his Chinese food.
Trust me,
yeah. So snack cart, I would really like that. I would like an intermission if you're going long.
Oh my God.
What do you think?
Yes.
Hey, everybody, take a break.
Yes.
Take 5 minutes, a little biological break, get some water, limber up. Maybe like you do a little bit of yoga on the side, get ready for the next step.
Dave, don't you say yoga. We're going to have people writing in all day.
Did I say yoga?
Stretching.
Stretching.
Just a little bit of stretching.
Is yoga I don't know.
It depends on what area of
can you imagine this body in like spandex, doing downward facing dog or something? But is yoga evil? Is that the verdict?
Do you want my real opinion?
No. Could you give a mixed opinion?
I can't. My real opinion is no. My real opinion is you're stretching.
You're stretching.
Fine. Now, but don't get me started on that one.
But you could, definitely. Now, is worshiping the devil bad?
You want my real opinion? No, I'm just kidding. Of course it is, Dave.
Well, so snacks, snack cart, and intermission. But I think people are going to write me and go, Dave, that's completely...
No, listen, you're the VP. Can we just go ahead and say, can we do the snack cart? I'm thinking charcuterie plates.
Yeah, you could, and it's like the airline. You could have the kosher version.
Right, yeah.
For all the yarmulke wearing people, make sure it's kosher. And then you could have like a vegetable, kind of like a hummus and something pita thing.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Then, for me, it'd be wings and pizza. Probably.
Yeah. That would just be a smelly service. I'll tell you that.
It would be, wouldn't it?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, maybe some of this is practical reasons. Right. But, hey, we're always pushing the envelope here. Always. It's like a giant petri dish of experimentation.
Yes, pretty much.
If God's in it, we want it.
That's right.
So tell me a little bit conferences coming up. Well, I don't know. We can do that because depending on when the thing is.
Sure.
What's going on with the worship school? That is, to me, the one of the most. How do I want to say it? Because I want to. It just seems to be skyrocketing, the worship school here at Morningstar. And I'm not saying that to hype. I mean, hey, if you're listening and you want to be a part of a really good worship school university, come be a part of Morningstar. I highly recommend it. But it seems like that's really got some traction.
It does, yeah. And just to answer your question about conferences, and it doesn't have to be on a certain time. You just go to mstarevents.com. You can find out any of the conferences. We have a lot, so you want to check that out. But for the worship school, I'll tell you this, it really is, it's blowing up. We're having a lot of awesome students come through. We have students, that have started from like knowing nothing to students who are really high level. And it's really cool because we teach them first, you got to love to worship the Lord first and foremost. And everything else is an overflow out of that, including theory, including, rhythm, including learning how to play your instrument efficiently, producing, writing. And so it's really great. And we have great instructors. Your son is one of them. Woo! And it's really, really nice to have not only a really great group of instructors, but we're all really close friends. We have a great time together. And so it's pretty fun.
The thing that got me, I think you did something at a conference or something, and you had a number of your students on stage, and it was anointed. I felt like it was a song that you guys had produced or it done something. You give me a strange look, but it's true.
Sorry. I was thinking about which one. And
I don't know. I mean, I don't remember the names of the songs.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It was at Harvest Fest.
Yeah, it felt really, really cool. And it felt like, it was a lot of heart in it, and I don't know. I wasn't listening critically to the musicianship of it, but it seemed beautiful. But I thought, man, this is where the new sound is coming from. And that's what you're after, right?
Totally,
like this kind of new sound kind of a thing.
Yeah. And when and listen, the phrase new sound has always kind of been like, what do you mean? Like, even like to the Lord, I'm like, Lord, what is the new sound? And I feel like he's giving me a clarity on it that is more of an approach than a sound, and it's like the heart of it. And so like, I think a lot of times the heart of it is, it's people who really love to worship. And we're not trying to write the hit song. It's like honesty. It's vulnerability. It's not trying to just write a hit, but we're actually writing real stuff to the Lord. I think that's the new sound.
I think about like, I do think that there are rhythms that get released and there are genres that get released. And I think new sound has to be, you're like flowing in that river, so to speak. And listen, you might be out there listening to us and you're from a church that's, honestly, I've been to cool churches and they put in a tape for worship because they don't have a lot of highly trained musicians, or they've got, just a couple of people that play piano, it doesn't matter that type of instrumentation stuff, but is it coming out of that place? It's somewhat hard for me to describe.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it just really all boils down to the heart and the intent.
The heart and the intent.
Because you're right. I've been to places like, even overseas, like in there, a couple hundred people there, and they put in a CD. It's way better than sometimes these worship bands that are singing empty words. I'm just being honest.
Could we do karaoke worship?
We've done it.
We've done it.
We have done it.
Is that right? Nate is nodding over there.
This worship school that I have currently, you want to know our love language? It's karaoke.
Oh, cool.
I don't know why, but our school loves karaoke. So
cool.
We can do karaoke worship. We can do 80s karaoke. We can do any kind of karaoke you want.
Nice. Now we're talking some nice 80s music.
Yeah,
that'll
put up
bring me back.
those Hosanna songs. We can sing Ancient of Days all.
Oh, yeah. Ancient of Ron Canoli. Bring him back out. Yeah. So, hey, listen, as we get winding down here, I want to just put this word out to you. Listen, come and check us out at Morningstar. This might not be your place. Check us out on the web. If you're hearing this, you haven't checked it out for a long time. Morningstar Ministries.org.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Or MStarM.
MStarM. Yeah.
That's a way easier one.
Well, listen, I want the harder way.
I want to work for this.
I want you to have to figure out Ministries. Is that with an I apostrophe?
I always spell it Ministires every time. Every time.
We'd love to have you check us out. Come, you can actually see, it's like on exhibit, Dave Vallier will be here. You can come and